So, I just drank a freaking Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, and it is going on 6:55 a.m. And it is, my first birthday. Happy birthday, Summer, if you're watching this, by the way. Um, because it is February 9th. So, yes, February 9th, exactly almost 5 minutes away until 7 a.m. And I just drank this, and I'm eager to just start my day, I guess. Don't drink soda in the morning, y'all. Um, so in the background, you'll see I'm playing like whatever I'm playing. I'm just gonna be using that to jingle keys in front of you to be like, hey, you know, I'm doing something. You look, there's something. But in actuality, we're gonna be talking about the world's favorite thing, the best thing that comes out of the government, the thing that we all hope and dream of hearing about and stuff like that, and just like going, yippee, I can't wait to do this, and that is taxes. Now, if you've heard that word and you started running, you're normal. That's great. Keep running. um, Essentially, I'm gonna be just talking about my, Taxation 1 class. Specifically, this involves the US tax system. I don't think I'll be going over any other government tax system anytime soon. At the moment, it is just currently the US tax system that I'm going to be, putting my nose in. And unfortunately, it's for my Taxation 1 class. Woo! So, this video is just going to be kind of me reiterating what I've written in my notes and stuff like that. Unfortunately, if you thought I brought my notebook with me, you're wrong. It's in the car. I'm not ready. But it's okay because I have like an older PowerPoint in front of me that I went over before and stuff like that that I'm using for note taking, along with going over a couple things from, my class in general. So, yay. Main things that we're going to be going over is, the history of taxation in the United States, how to identify sources of tax law. There's describing the criteria of edible tax structure, such as equity, certainty, convenience, economy, and simplicity. Uh, Woohoo. Um, some bits and portions of it is being able to describe the structure of individual tax incomes. I totally know how to say things, guys. I'm totally not cracked on a Dr. Pepper right now. But, we'll be able to describe in another time, we'll be able to describe the administrative procedures of the IRS and stuff like that. That won't be this one, but we will be getting to that probably if I make another one of these. God, I hope not, but let's see. Yeah, we'll be able to also identify different types of tax entities that are subject to taxation in the United States. I don't think that is covered fully in this one either. Based on my notes, I believe that was a separate chapter, but regardless, we'll be yapping about it, I'm sure. So, if you haven't left yet, congrats. We're getting started. We'll just go with the basic. What the hell is tax? Well, tax is a payment required by the government that is unrelated to any specific benefit or service received from the government. So, we get, special services and stuff that benefits from the government. So you could be paying tax and it could be going to education and stuff like that. Or you could be paying tax and it could go to the military. It could be going anywhere. It's unrelated to anything you receive from the government. It is just a general tax paid for the government. Not voluntary. You cannot skip taxes. Do not admit into my comment section and say that you don't pay taxes. Don't do it. I guarantee, I'm not even looking your way. So if you comment that and say that I don't pay taxes, I'm not looking your way. In fact, I'm not gonna say good, bad, whatever. I'm just, I'm looking around the room. I don't even see, where that. What? What? You did pay tax? I don't see it. I'm blind. It is a required payment. You cannot skip taxes. They are imposed by the government, federal, state, local, whatever break you're in, it will be applied to you. It is not directly tied to any benefit you may receive from the government. It's just, yes, it's just, it, not voluntary. I have to emphasize that. You cannot skip them. Um, I guess we can go all the way back to the US Constitution. Am I gonna fully admit everything that this little article has to say? No. But under the US Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 is where the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and all that jazz. You'll have to pay the debts, common defense, and general welfare throughout the United States, but all duties and stuff will have that. You know, I'm gonna just blast it on the screen right now, slap that shit on. You can read that. I'm just giving a general overview because it's not directly right in front of me, and I'm sure, you know, editing me will look at me and be like, what the fuck did you just say? That doesn't say anything related to this. Just know that under the Constitution, it is under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Boom. And in 1913 is the 16th Amendment, where it states that Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment, whatever. That's a word, big word for Elmo, me don't care. But it's among several of the states and without regard to any census or enumeration. Boom. There you go. Have fun with that. Elmo gave you big words. Thumbs up. Moving on. How we calculate tax is two simple things we need, essentially. Your tax rate and your tax base. I'm gonna slap the fucking formula up here. Okay? Tax equals tax base times tax rate. Boom. That's it. That's it. That's how you calculate it. I'm pointing at it. Look. That is how you do it. Things that you might want to know is that your tax rate is the level of taxes imposed on the tax base and is usually expressed as a percentage. And your tax base is what you're actually being taxed for. It's usually expressed in, you know, money terms, like when you get paid a bulk of money, this is what you're paying. And the rate will be applied to it. So yeah, think of, I guess a good way to think of tax base is income. That is like the main thing. We will be taxed for our income. Or purchases. Two of the most common ones. So yeah, so how, two different ways that we tax is flat tax and graduated tax. Taxes that are flat are, you know, a single tax applied to an entire base. It will be consistent throughout. Graduated taxes is a base divided into a series of monetary amounts or brackets, and each successful bracket is taxed at a different rate. That might come across confusing, but we're going to be breaking that down just a little bit. So, how we measure tax rates is three. There's three ones. Well, there's others too, but main ones that we need to be like worried about is marginal tax rate, average tax rate, and effective tax rate. Where, yeah, marginal tax rates is the next taxable dollar, or sorry, next dollar of taxable income above a predefined income is taken as a percentage. So think of the next additional increment of a taxpayer's income is being applied to your income for the highest tax bracket. This is a graduated tax rate structure, as we just previously talked about, how we use for, you know, income tax. This is how we do it. Average tax rate is taxpayers' average level of taxation on each dollar of taxable income. So if you see the word average tax, well, if you just see the word average and it's for tax rate, think of anything that is taxable via income is what that rate is going to be. That. So it will be the average level of taxation for each dollar that is taxable. Effective tax rate is the taxpayer average rate of taxation on each dollar of total income, both taxable and non-taxable. So effective is all. If you're being paid $60K, it will tax all that $60K. Now, if you're only doing the average tax rate, let's say you get that same $60K, but only 40K of it is taxable income. We would only take the tax rate of the 40K. Cool. Thumbs up. Great. Once again, the structures that follow through are proportional tax rate. In parentheses, put, flat tax there, which imposes a constant rate of tax throughout the tax base. Sales tax is one of those. Right now in Florida, I believe it's 6% on sales tax that we pay, which will remain proportional. Progressive tax rate imposes an increasing marginal tax rate that tax base increases. So the richer you are, the more of your total income you pay. Whereas there's also the regressive tax rate, imposes a decreasing marginal tax rate as the tax base increases. The poorer you are, the more of your total income you pay. Boom. That's how that is. So stuff like Social Security and state unemployment, which do have caps, but that will be, taxed accordingly. Oh yeah, so, federal taxes, we have income, and we also have employment and unemployment taxes. Those are our two main ones. Uh, Income taxes is more represented throughout the tax revenues in the United States. This is typically under individuals, corporations, estates, and trusts, whereas, unemployment and employment are under Social Security and Medicare tax. Unemployment taxes fund temporary unemployment benefits for individuals terminated with jobs without cause. So, if you're trying to file for unemployment, you have to have been fired with no cause. You can't just quit and say, I want to, file for unemployment. That's not how that works. You will have to be without cause of why you're fired. If you got fired for having too many, what's a good way? If you got fired for maybe missing too much work, that's cause, so you can't file for unemployment. Excise taxes and stuff, which is the third largest group of taxes imposed by the US government. This is kind of levied on the quantity of sales sold. Not sales, sorry, products sold. So think of retails when they have alcohol. That's gonna be an excise tax. You got fuel, excise. Gasoline, excise. Tobacco, yeah. There's also stuff for air transportation and telephones, but we'll get to that. Then finally, there's the estate and gift taxes, which is levied on fair market values of wealth transferred upon death or by gift. Lifetime exemptions of this is 11.7 million per individual for 2021, as far as we're aware, for both estate and gift taxes. The annual exemption up to $15,000 of gift per donee. So gift recipients, sorry. Only large transfers are subject to gift and estate taxes. So you can't just go donate $5 and expect to kind of get gift taxes for that. Gift or estate taxes. It has to be large quantities of money. State and local taxes, we have our sales and use taxes, and we also have property taxes. If you don't know what sales and use taxes are, when you go to buy a banana, yeah, you're paying tax on that. So let's say your banana is like, I don't know, freaking $2. Just throwing it out there. And suddenly you go to checkout and it's $2 of 50 cents. 50 cents is, your tax for it. Suddenly that 50 cents just spawns in, and boom. Use tax is when, any goods are owned, purchased, or processed within a state that was not purchased within the state. So you will have to pay use tax on that. Property taxes, simple breakdown of it is that there's real property taxes and personal property taxes. There's also just overall property taxes, but real property taxes, consist of actual land value and structures that are permanently attached to land. That is going to be your real property tax. Your personal property taxes are, tangible and intangible property. So your computer is a personal property tax. A TV would be personal property tax. Whereas real property tax would be the house that sits on the land or the land itself. Property taxes overall are, assessed value that is based on the fair market value of the property. So if I have a piece of land and the acre is like worth, I'm just throwing out numbers, 17 grand in the market, I will be paying 17 grand, not paying, but it would be assessed at that value. If I said it was worth 25 grand, that's not gonna fly. They want the actual, assessed value based on fair market value. They're not gonna take my market value or my thoughts on it being this much. It's going to be assessed at the fair market value of the property. So if I tried to say this acre of land is actually 20 grand, they would be like, no, we're under the fair market value of the property. It's kind of to say, like, for people with more expensive properties and stuff like that, they can't just go and claim that their property is a lot less than what that's actually worth. It has to fall under the fair market value. So yes, thumbs up. Great, guys. We're doing awesome. Other types of state and local taxes is obviously your income tax and your excise taxes. Once again, excise taxes is things like gasoline, alcohol, tobacco products, cable, or telephone. Income taxes also falls under this too, where most state taxable income calculations are largely conformed to the federal taxable income calculations with a limited number of modifications. So they may tweak it a little. And that would be the state and local government doing that. That would not be your federal government doing your modifications. Things we'll go over is, we'll just go over it now. So your Social Security and your Medicare tax are kind of split amongst the employee and employer if you're working for somebody. If you're self-employed, you pay the full percentage. So, just as an example, your Social Security tax, throwing it out there, if in total is equal to 12.4%, which, I mean, we're in the United States, so I'm just gonna flat out say it. So, let's just say Social Security tax. You, if you're an employee, will pay 6.2% for you. Your employer pays for the remaining percentage, which would be 6.2 overall. So if self-employed, you pay 12.4. You pay the total. And that falls under the Medicare tax as well. So you, the employee, will pay 1.45%. You, having the employer, will also pay, not you specifically, but your employer will also pay the 1.45%. So in total, 2.9% gets paid, but if you are self-employed, you pay that entirety. So you will pay the 12.9%, not 12, 2.9 for the Medicare. If you want to put that into perspective, total self-employment rates would typically look like 15.3%, because that includes both your Social Security and Medicare tax. Now we're kind of going to go into how a tax system is evaluated, which follows 5 simple little things. One is going to be sufficiency, which involves assessing the aggregate size of tax revenues and must be generated and making sure that the tax system provides these revenues. So, simple way to think about it is enough money to pay for the cost of the government. Do we currently do that in the United States? No, that is currently not happening. We do not have enough money to pay for the cost of most government, services and stuff like that. This also goes to the next thing, which is equity. How the tax burden should be distributed across taxpayers, which equates to, fairness. When you think of equity, you think of fairness. Without equity, it would not be fair across the United States. So, third one would be certainty, which means that taxpayers should be able to determine when they pay tax, where to pay tax, and how to determine tax. So certainty is relying that most, if not all, taxpayers should be able to know when their taxes are due. And I believe the next video, which would involve chapter 2, would be going over you know, when we pay taxes, where we pay the taxes, and how we determine the taxes and stuff like that. Kind of more of a better breakdown of that. Um, Certainty has its own sort of thing for it. Then it goes into the fourth, which is convenience. Tax systems should be designed to be collected without undue hardship onto the taxpayer. This is where, you know, sales tax kind of comes in. When we go to buy things, that tax is already included on it. So when you go to purchase your banana, you will see that tax at checkout. Economy, which is the fifth one, should minimize the compliance and administrative costs associated with the tax system, which is keeping it simple. That is essentially what economy stands for in this case, is keeping it simple for taxpayers. That was most of my tax talk today, because I don't have other notes currently, and the PowerPoint that I have, I'm still going through it. And if you hear my cat screaming, it's because it's tax time. So, whatever this video comes out to be, I guess thanks for listening. Bye-bye.